All right, today we're going to talk about training our bodies, but probably not in the way you're used to thinking about it. See, this isn't just about getting bigger muscles or lifting heavier weights. It's about building a body that can actually carry you through your life, especially as we start to get a little older.
So let's just start with a really simple but super important question. Are your workouts actually training you for life, or are they just training you for the gym? It seems like a small distinction, but trust me, the answer opens up a whole conversation about two totally different ways to think about fitness.
Look, let's be real for a second. As we get older, our bodies change. It's just a fact of life. And one of the biggest changes we all face is a natural loss of muscle. Now, this isn't just about not being as strong as you used to be. It's way more important than that. It directly affects our ability to do simple, everyday things and, honestly, to stay independent.
And if you want to put a number on it, get this. Research shows that after you hit 50, you can lose about 1.5% of your muscle mass every single year. I know, 1.5% doesn't sound like a whole lot, but believe me, it adds up fast and it can have a huge impact on your strength and just your ability to function.
You know, there's actually a clinical name for this whole process. It's called sarcopenia. It's just a fancy term for age-related muscle and strength loss. But here's the real kicker. This doesn't just start when you're 65. For most of us, this process quietly kicks off around age 40. That's why getting ahead of it is so important.
Okay, so how in the world do we fight back against this? Well, when we're talking about strength training, it turns out there are really two main roads you can go down, and each one has a totally different idea about what it even means to be strong.
So on one side, you've got what we call traditional resistance training, or TRT for short. This is what most people picture when they think of the gym, bicep curls, leg extensions, exercises that really isolate one muscle at a time. And then on the other side, you have functional resistance training, or FRT. And this is all about copying the kinds of movements you do in real life: lifting, twisting, pushing, pulling.
This right here is a perfect example of what functional training looks like. A one-leg TRX squat. Now, this isn't just about making your legs stronger. I mean, look at what's happening. It's challenging her balance, it's firing up her core, and it's making a bunch of different joints work together, exactly like they have to do out in the real world.
And here's another one, a suspension row. This isn't some random gym exercise. It's specifically designed to copy the things you do every day, like pulling open a heavy door, or picking up your kid, or hauling in bags of groceries. You see the difference? You're training patterns of movement, not just individual muscles. All right, so we've got these two very different ways of training. But the big question is, which one is actually better? Well, let's stop guessing and take a look at what the science says when you put them head to head.
Okay, now at first glance, you might think, hey, they look about the same. And you'd be kind of right. When it comes to just building pure muscle strength and size, yeah, studies show both get the job done pretty equally. But that is where the similarities stop, dead in their tracks. Just look at movement quality and balance. Functional training gives you a huge improvement, which is so important for not falling as we get older. And traditional training? Little to no improvement in those areas. Wow.
In fact, one study found something that, honestly, it's pretty shocking. The group doing functional training, their movement quality got better, as you'd expect. But the group doing traditional training, their movement quality actually got worse. Think about that for a second. It suggests that just building strong muscles by themselves might actually make you less efficient at moving your body as a whole. Wild, right?
And then there's this other angle to consider, just how hard the workout feels. Check this out. One study found that even though they got the same strength gains, the functional training group felt like their workout was 27% easier. Now that is a huge deal, because let's be honest, if something doesn't feel like a total grind, you're way more likely to stick with it, right?
So, what's the bottom line here? What does all this research mean for, real life? Well, it all boils down to one simple thing: being able to do what experts call activities of daily living, or ADLs. I mean, that's the real test of fitness, isn't it? And when scientists looked at a bunch of studies all together, the results were pretty clear. They found a really significant advantage for functional training when it came to actually making people better at doing their everyday stuff. So what are these activities of daily living anyway? We're not talking about anything crazy. We're talking about the simple but essential stuff that lets us live on our own. Like standing up from a chair without having to push off with your hands, or walking up a flight of stairs, hauling groceries in from the car, reaching for something on the top shelf. I mean, these are the movements that really truly determine our quality of life as we get older. So, after all that, what's the final verdict?
Which one is the right choice? Well, it really all comes down to you and answering one simple question. What is your main goal?
I love this analogy. It's a great way to think about it. Traditional training, that's like building a massive, powerful engine. It's all about raw horsepower. But functional training, that's like building and fine-tuning the entire car. It's making sure that powerful engine works with the steering, the suspension, the tires, the whole shebang, so you can actually drive down the road smoothly and safely.
So here's the takeaway, plain and simple. If your number one goal is just to build as much muscle and raw strength as possible, say you're a bodybuilder or a powerlifter, then yeah, traditional training is a fantastic proven tool. Go for it. But if your goal is to get better at moving through your actual life, to improve your coordination, your balance, and how you function day to day, then all the evidence we've seen points to functional training having a clear edge.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with that same question. But hopefully now you see it in a whole new light. After looking at all this, the most important thing you can do is really ask yourself, what are you training for? Because the answer to that is what's going to guide you to the path that serves you best, not just in the gym today, but for all the years of your life to come.